Hi, and welcome to another fabulous show of What Does It Take? I'm Eric Solan, your guest for the show. First of all, I want to thank my last week's guest, Casey Crowley out of Connecticut, and also an LA band called Jekyll, and a fabulous DJ, Joe Benson of KLOS. This show is going to be fabulous and exciting, and I'm glad you're here to watch it. I do have on my show this week, I have one of the fabulous business symposium, music business symposium, Mr. William Cladstone, excuse me. And also I have on my show Alexandria Nicole. She's a singer-songwriter, and also a fabulous rock group from Pasadena called Lost Anthony. I want to let you know, I want you to write in on our show. My show has the biggest executives, A&R directors, top radio DJs. Everybody in the music business comes on What Does It Take? And I also would like you to be on the show also. So, I want you to stay with us as we find out together, what does it take? Welcome back to What Does It Take? I'm here with William Cladstone of William Cladstone Management. Hi, William. Welcome to What Does It Take?
Great.
Good to have you on the show.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask you, William, about your music per se career. You got started back the East Coast, I believe, right?
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I started as a sitar player.
Oh, really? Sitar, huh?
Well, I played piano and other instruments as a kid, but I started as a sitar player. I played for about 10 years, and I played 3 years professionally on the road.
Oh, really? Did you play with some...
Mostly myself. I had, when I was on the road, it was mostly myself and the drummer. And for a while I worked with a modern dance troupe in Boulder. In New York I had a theater troupe I put together of African, Indian, rock, and dance, yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great.
I loved it. And then from there I went into the business side.
I see. So you had an office in New York at one time, also in LA?
No, just in New York.
I
see.
see.
Then when I moved out here, I opened up out here.
Now, how is your management? You have a management company.
Management company.
Top acts you book, and you manage.
Yeah.
And some older groups too in the 60s?
Well, I've worked with people like Donovan.
Donovan?
The guy who did Mellow Yellow and Sunshine Superman.
Sure.
And is still active nowadays. People like Paul Horn, Paul Winter in jazz.
Okay.
African music, people like King Sunny Ade, Chief Obey. Indian music, people like Ravi Shankar. Rock music, I had some acts, none of which ever broke. They were signed on labels. And some songwriters who are staff writers for the publishing companies.
Fabulous. Let me ask you, of the acts that you do sign, how do they do? Do they do very well? Do they hold up today on today's market in the music business?
The music business is a really tough business. So when you talk about holding up, most of them emotionally break down. When I say the rock acts I worked with, for example, none of them ever broke. They were successful. They've earned $1 million a year. They all had recording contracts. But for one reason or another, the pressures of being on the road and being at that level, drugs, alcohol, ego, and they all just crack up.
It wears them down. It's a shame. Well, you know, for our viewers, there is a lot of musicians who want to know what does it take to get signed to a major management company such as yours. You know?
Right. Well, the interesting thing that I found is there's a reverse formula, which has always surprised me. The professional acts that I've known over the years, I find work a lot harder, a lot more professional, and they put in a great deal more time. I would say it's 90% attitude. So what always surprises me is the bands who are trying to make it, I find it the least unprofessional. Whereas I would think in other industries, the people who are trying to break in because of desire and hunger would work harder.
I see.
And they don't. And they don't realize what it takes. That's why I like to saying, what does it take?
Hey, I want to know what does it take to get signed to a management company.
The problem with getting signed to a management company is my overhead is, when I cost it out per hour with secretaries and Xerox machines and
Right.
insurance and on and on and on. My overhead is so high that I'm not in the charity business. No successful manager is. So I can't afford to take on an act that's not earning money. It's a business of money, as you know. So if an act isn't generating sufficient revenues, and by sufficient revenues I mean if they're making $100,000 a year,
Right.
and I commission at 20%, that's $20,000 for me.
Okay.
That's not sufficient income for me to put all the time in as an act wants. So the problem an act has is they've got to handle their career until they can get to a high enough point to interest a professional manager.
I see. Well, suppose there is some LA groups out there right now that are generating that type of clientele, a full house in the clubs, and they are making a lot of noise, and they're sounding good, and they are ready to be signed to a management company that will do its all.
Right.
What can you do for them?
It's a good question. Well, it depends upon the women they know.
Okay, I can agree with that one. That's,
Besides that, what I can do from them is I work both on the creative and the business
I
side
see.
with an act. I can help shape their image.
okay.
I can clean up all of their business, meaning their finances, their internal band agreements. I can educate them about making a career plan,
Okay.
what the possible choices are that you could take to activate the career plan, what the downside is of every choice you make, how to put together a demo to shop for a deal. There's an art to shopping for a deal. The people don't realize there's a real art. A real art. I've shopped for deals where known producers who produced a band that I worked with took that tape around and couldn't get a deal. And with that same tape, I was able to get a deal. Because there's an art to it.
Well, I believe it if you are a manager and that's what you do. I also, now how could some of the viewers get in touch with you should they want to possibly, talk to you about a deal? You're out of Culver City, I believe.
Yeah, Culver City.
They could either mail here to the address here?
Yeah. Or in Culver City, they could find me, yeah.
I see. And I understand you do deal with a lot of music lawyers throughout the LA
Sure.
area and the Valley.
Can't help it, but it's a sickness.
Oh, well, I know that, but when you got it, you got it. You got to be careful.
It's like having the measles, yeah.
That's true. What's lined up for the calendar now for coming up in '89?
Well, what I've done is I also, besides the management, I had been putting on every year that event you heard of called the Music Business Symposium.
The Music Business Symposium.
And it was
fabulous.
a yearly gathering, and we had 5 days of seminars and showcases. And between the two, I got burnt out.
Now that's that big that's that big seminar in Century City
Right.
that everybody goes into business. Everybody goes into business. I mean, it's big. Who goes? Clyde Davis?
Well, Clive Davis, Norm Pattis, Malcolm McDowell, and LL Cool J, and I can go on and on. They've been on panels and they talk.
Gee,
Frank Zappa,
fabulous. I was there.
Lou Reed.
I couldn't believe it.
Between the management company and the
Can we show?
yeah, sure.
I want to show you some of this is a big seminar in Atlantic City, and also it happens in Century City, where everybody goes to this in the music business. You want to know what does it take? You go here and you know it all. Lawyers, music lawyers, A&R people, top executives. Everybody in the business does go here. This goes on once a year. We have this one. Here's another year of it. And top sponsors, ASCAP, BMI, everybody in the business. It's just incredible. I can't tell you. It's filled with nothing but music and music notes. And it's fabulous. And the man who does it all is sitting right here, William Gladstone of William Gladstone Management.
So what happened is between the two events, I got burnt out. So I
Okay.
closed my company recently, and I've just been resting, going to Hawaii, cooling out, and regenerating. Because this is being a manager is like owning a 7-Eleven. You never close.
Oh, I never knew that, but I hear you
You
now.
never close. So that I got burnt out, and I've regenerated. And mostly what I've been doing is consulting work for the last year.
I see. In the music.
Yeah, like Laura Marr just wants to get back into song publishing, and
Oh,
they
I
started
see.
a rock division. So they had a group from New England they asked me to work with, and all kinds of projects. I've been doing one-on-one consulting projects and just regenerating. And right now I'm finally feeling the desire to get back to work.
Well, gee, that's great. I'm glad you came down on the show. Is there anything else you want to leave the viewers with on, you know, the aspect of on what does it take or your music?
Well, I'd say the biggest factor that I find that people aren't aware of is how important attitude is.
Okay.
You know, having a professional attitude, having a sense of professionalism.
I see. Well, gee, William, I'm super glad you came down.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and, you know, let's move on to 89 together and see what we can do to make it happen. So stay with us. I have a fabulous guest coming up, a singer, songwriter, performer. Her name is Alexandria Nicole, and she's going to show us what does it take. So stay with us. Welcome back to What Does It Take? I'm here with a singer-songwriter out of Los Angeles, Alexandria Nicole, and she's fabulous, and she's going to tell us today what does it take. Let me ask you, Alexandra, how long have you been playing music?
I've been performing for a little over 15 years.
Really?
Yeah, here in Los Angeles and overseas also.
Oh, really? Where have you gone?
I've been in the Orient and also in South America, and then here in L.A.
Oh, that's fabulous. And how long have you been playing and writing tunes?
Geez, I've been doing that since probably over 15 years, actually.
15 years. That's
Yeah,
fabulous.
yeah.
And where have you been playing locally lately?
Okay, just recently, up until a little while back, I've been doing the circuit, the Whiskey and John Anson Ford Theater, Country Club, FM station.
That's great. What are you looking for right now at this time of your life?
Well, I right now am promoting myself as a solo artist, and I do all my own writing of my material, play the keyboard, so I'm working on material currently right now and looking for a new line of work as a solo.
I see, and you're also searching for a record deal, right?
Yes, I am.
She's searching for a fabulous record deal on possibly, you know, a major label out here, and she's going to perform a song with us. I know you're going to like it, and you'll see what kind of people do come on. What does it take? Also, I was going to ask you, what kind of influences, your music influences, do you
Well,
like?
my influences started back when I was really young. They started off with blues and gospel, and of course they moved up, but one of my two biggest influences of music was Grace Slick and Shaka Khan, which is completely different, but those were my influences.
That's fabulous. Well, let me ask you, what song are you going to do today?
Okay, the song that I'm going to perform is called Prince of Fire, and I did write the lyrics and the music.
Fabulous. Prince of Fire. Here she is, Alexandria Nicole.
One side lives and one side dies. You come to me with questions why. Blue lights rise, red lights fall. Oh honey, I was made to believe it all, but I never gave my heart away. I never ever thought I'd say that one light could ignite the dark. Your touch released a part of me. I never could let go. You took my heart, then there the war. Prince of Fire, my one desire, and all this needing has left me bleeding. Prince of Fire, my damn desire, with all this needing has left me bleeding. My heart is aching for all you're taking. I feel like dying, see me crying. Prince of Fire, my passionate liar, I'm never gonna, ever gonna let you go. No, 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 no. You tried me once, tried me twice, so baby, I can make you feel so nice. Dreams of heat that turn to ice. I can't believe the sacrifice for you. The cards were full of hearts. The games you played tore me apart. Your truths were lies when lies fell through. So what the hell did I see?